All right, welcome back, COSA 50 and 650 folks. Professor Almeida here. Happy Thursday, everyone. As you can see, I've changed up the scenery a bit. Coming up in this video, I want to talk to you about the game plan for week 4, which is already open and available to you. So what we will be doing in class Monday, February 24th, and that Wednesday, which is your second exam day. So all that coming up, but first, I want to start with yesterday's lecture because there was some confusion about certain key terms. And just to be honest with all of you, and I've said this before with TFS, it's like reading a glossary of different computer terms. Now, whatever you see come up in lecture, whatever you see in the ebook and in your training sessions, it's all fair game for the exams. And by the way, your exams are open book, open notes, open web. You can Google for things. So don't get too caught up in that. But the key terms I want to look at: buffering versus spooling and archiving versus compressing. And I found some resources. Let me bring that up right now. So I'll start with the difference between spooling and buffering. Now, in lecture, I mentioned that it really comes down to prioritizing the data or instructions that's being temporarily stored. You see this a lot with multiple print jobs. And if you scroll on down, you'll see advantages and disadvantages of spooling. And then we get into buffering, advantages and disadvantages, and then the differences between spooling and buffering. And I think this is where the confusion was. Okay, so here's the key difference. Spooling can handle the input and output of one job along with the computation of another job at the same time, while buffering handles the input and output of one job along with its computation. Now, the buffer, it's really just a temporary storage area residing in memory. And you can see that here in the last point, that buffering uses a limited area in main memory while spooling uses the disk as a huge buffer. Okay, so I hope that this helps you out here in distinguishing the differences between spooling and buffering. And then we have file compression versus archives, or file compression and archives. This is from Bleeping Computer, and if you scroll on down, you'll see the different terms, and I think this is where the confusion was. An archive is the single file that contains many separate files, and these individual files can be extracted from the main archive, whereas a compressed file is simply a file that's been compressed into a smaller size. Now, let me give you an example here. At the end of every semester, I download the Canvas gradebooks into a spreadsheet format. I also have the attendance logs. Now, these are single files, but within these archives, there are multiple folders and files. Now, a question came up in class: is this something you should be doing day to day? And the answer is no. And the reason for this is because once I download the attendance logs and grade books, I never really see them again unless a question comes up about a student. And from there, I can just go ahead and open up the archive and then extract the class that I want. So for example, I'll just pick this last one here. You can see that I have an attendance log and a grade book. And I also, because this was COSA 1, I also have the application forms in case a question comes up. So that's why you would archive files. You still want them on your disk. You don't really use them, but you just never know. Now, with a compressed file, maybe it's a large file and you want to shrink it down to a smaller size. You can still go through the act of compressing the file and then just have that stored away on your disk for later use. I hope that this makes sense. And if you go to bleepingcomputer.com and read this tutorial here on file compression and archives, I hope that this makes some sense. Again, don't get too caught up on the key terms for TFS. All right, moving along. Hopefully you've been keeping up with the announcements in the class. And if week 3 is still grayed out for you, it means that you didn't check in with me. Go to the Success Check-in forum. So click this link and then refresh the modules page, and week 3 should be open and available to you. Now, I've also been plugging my 12-week COSA 50 section. This is a fully online asynchronous class. It moves at a faster pace than our COSA 50 section. There's still some seats available, so if you know someone who wanted to take COSA 50 but missed out on our class, send them my way. Again, details here in the announcements. All right, and as you know from looking at campus resources, don't forget COS Tech Support, Student Technology Help Desk, tutoring through MDSC, all of that good stuff. I've been mentioning this a couple of times now. And let's go on down. Quickly recap here. So, week 3, Monday, we didn't have class. You were responsible for TFS Concepts 4 training. And then yesterday, I tried to mix TFS 4 and 5 together. I know I talked a lot. You have TFS Concepts 5. And then for Monday, February 24th, we're going to wrap up TFS with Chapter 6 on security and safety. And then Wednesday is exam day. So as before, I will take attendance by Canvas login on Wednesday. And then you have this optional discussion forum here. Now, your TFS assignments, going back to the Chapter 2 training, so 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and all of your TFS exams will be due on Sunday, March 2nd. Now, I'm also going to be carefully watching for participation because there have been some folks who have disappeared after TFS Concepts 1 training, either not showing up to class or just not working on TFS. If you're one of those folks, and I will message you through the Canvas inbox, now would be a good time to get caught up. It shouldn't be that difficult. You're watching some videos and answering quiz questions. I hope that's straightforward enough. Anyway, I will be in the Canvas course chat later this morning, 9 until noon Pacific time. If you have questions for me, I'll see you in there. Or if you need to contact me privately, you can use the Canvas inbox. And with that, enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good weekend. I'll see you all on Monday for TFS 6 on safety and security. Good luck on your exams.